The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
JT Miller and Brock Boeser. You know, last year, Kyle, they went together like peanut butter and some stale pickles. But this year, they go together like peanut butter and...
What did you just say, Trevor? Are you serious?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to this bonus episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer since 2013, currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into this episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because guess what? It's your Canucks every damn day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Make sure you go subscribe, follow us, like us, or leave a 5-star review. Do all of that for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, okay? Now, Kyle and I recorded last night after one of the most improbable wins in Canucks playoff history ever. Unbelievable stuff for your Vancouver Canucks. But we're back at it today because we can't help but talk about these Vancouver Canucks, and specifically we want to get into JT Miller and Brock Boeser, because man, oh man, Kyle, you and I have been wrong about some things, but we were definitely wrong about JT Miller and Brock Boeser and what they could do. So we want to talk about why this duo has become one of the most unlikely star duos in the NHL right now. We'll also touch on some other news and notes, including Thatcher Demko, Archer Silovs, and what's next for your Vancouver Canucks. Who the heck knows, man? We're going to break down for you here on Locked On Canucks. Maybe I'll tell you what I like with my peanut butter, or maybe we'll save it for the Discord. Anyways, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle Bowen, someone who also likes peanut butter with. Kyle, what do you like to pair peanut butter with, buddy?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I remember one of my first days in the schooling system, right? Elementary school, primary student, kindergarten, peanut butter and celery, okay? No, straight up. That was like a snack we made in class. It was a standout moment because we also put Cheese Whiz in the celery as well. This is the things we were doing in kindergarten, man. Welcome to Canada. Anyways, my name is Kyle Bound. That right there is Trevor Beggs. We at the Don't Doze Art Lab doing our thing, providing that West Coast bias. Because, man, we got to look after our neighbors, man. How are we going to look after the world if we're not able to look after our neighbors? And our neighbors, right, the Vancouver Canucks, doing the most in quotations. Can I say that? For us? Even though this team is up 3-1 in a playoff series, yes, I'm still wanting a little more. Okay, I'm not concerned, but I'm interested in seeing the best version of the Vancouver Canucks, not just the lucky ones. Okay, and also the gritty ones. You get what I'm saying? All those things can be true. Anyways, as Trevor alluded to many times, not only on this show but past shows, we're wrong a lot of times. A lot of times. Maybe like 17% of the time, maybe 12% of the time, okay? We yap every day. It's your Canucks every day. And man, oh man, I was not only wrong in the Canucks need to trade Brock Boeser potentially last year because they need the cap space, but holy, was I ever wrong about the combination of Brock Boeser and JT Miller actually being dynamic for your Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, and Kyle, honestly, I think it was maybe only Rick Tocchet saw this coming, or maybe some delusional Canuck fans saw this coming. But what you and I were seeing last year, and I think most Canuck fans who maybe a step above casual, what they saw was that JT Miller and Brock Boeser last year just weren't getting it done at 5-on-5. And JT Miller certainly had more of a revolving door of wingers last year. Like just looking for this, for instance, I mean, JT Miller played almost 1,000 even strength minutes with Brock Boeser this season. Think about it, 885 minutes with Boeser, 199 without. Compared to last season, I think the winger spent the most time with was Connor Garland at a shade over 400 minutes. So Boeser and Miller, they played together all year long. And to me, it was surprising because you look at last year and they were one of the worst defensive duos in hockey. I mean, Brock Boeser had a horrendous season defensively. He got flack for not really scoring as much and, kind of covered that with some playmaking ability. But he just looked lost defensively on a number of occasions. Miller and Boeser as a duo were on the ice for a ton of chances against a lot of goals against as well. And I did not see this coming, Kyle. I did not see JT Miller and Brock Boeser emerging as one of the best star duos in the NHL this season. I mean, I said it time and time again during the offseason. They'll put Boeser with Pettersson, let the Canucks top line cook. And man, oh man, I was so wrong. And I'm trying to think, Kyle. I mean, obviously there's other star players with more name cachet. We talked time and time again how JT Miller is maybe one of the most unlikely or most disrespected stars in the NHL because he's way better than people give him credit for. But yeah, how surprised are you with the success that JT Miller and Brock Boeser have had? Again, not just in the playoffs, but throughout the season here.
That's a great question. I was about to say, oh, really surprised, but we've seen it all year long that those two forwards bring their A game when it comes to effort pretty much every game. Straight up. And it's their effort in all three facets of the game, okay? Offensive, neutral, defensive. They're doing their thing. Shift in and shift out. Let's talk about that even more closely, okay? I looked at the overtime goal that Lindholm scored again and again and again and again. And I watched the whole sequence, right? And the sequence really actually started in the neutral zone. Okay, Nashville's trying to make a break-in. And who's stopping the break-in? Who's putting a halt to that? It's Brock Boeser, making a great defensive play. Starting the transition. Fast forward 45 seconds later, the Canucks win the game. Again, Brock Boeser, JT Miller, they're bringing it. They're two-way forces. And not to give JT Miller all the credit, but a big reason why Brock Boeser has brought his defensive game, his effort game to another level is because JT Miller's done the same thing. I mean, JT Miller went from no way in hell this guy should be on the penalty killer. No way in hell this guy should be matched up against other good players. He's a defensive liability. You know, one of the biggest hockey podcasts out there, right? They're always yapping, all right? They're always yapping. They're saying their things, especially about the team here on the West Coast, the best coast. Bro, that podcast was known for publishing the statement, right? JT Miller, a power play merchant. And I'm not saying he deserves that, but the book was out on JT Miller being a one-way player. And because he changed, and he's, again, one of the alphas, the leaders of the team, the man on the team, the dad on the team, bro, Brock Boeser has followed along. And that's why both of them have found their chemistry between each other take a whole new step, a step that we didn't see was possible. It's because they both see the game the same way. They both view success, shift in and shift out the same way. It's pocket science, right? And they're both getting it.
Well, I think the other big thing about them too is that they both push each other to be better, right? And we've seen Miller, you know, throughout the season, every time there's a face-off, he's yapping, he's trying to call a play, right? I think he probably puts in almost as much work as anyone out there. And Brock Boeser too, like Rick Talkin touched on it recently, how Boeser is one of the best Canucks at practice, pushing the pace. And you see it with Boeser and Miller on set plays that have worked, especially like the one last night to lead to the first Nashville goal of the game. But I think with hard work comes, you know, some reward and some luck too, right? And Boeser and Miller have learned where to find each other on the ice. They've learned to trust each other positionally, both offensively and defensively. And man, oh man, I do think, and I'm looking around the NHL that, you know, really they are one of the best star duos in the NHL. Okay. McDavid and Hyman. It's not even McDavid and Draisaitl anymore. It'd be McDavid and Hyman at even strength. Rantanen and McKinnon doing their thing in Colorado. But Miller and Boeser have had a huge impact in the regular season and in the playoffs. And Kyle, like the defensive thing to me is what stands out the most. I mean, they're scoring goals. But last season when Miller and Boeser were on the ice, the opposition was averaging 3.95 goals per 60. Now that's down to 2.1 goals per 60. So they've almost halved the amount of goals they were on the ice for. They outscored the opposition by 17 goals at even strength during the regular season here. They were in the negatives last year. I mean, this duo has come so far, and man, oh man. I mean, at a time where there's some Canucks who are struggling pretty bad, Miller and Boeser
just say the name. Just say the name. You don't got it, bro. You're 30 and a half year old man. You know, you don't have to hide behind subliminal messages, man. Yeah, Pettersson's not stepping up. It'll happen. It'll happen soon. But man, we are so lucky that these two are making things happen. They're finding ways to do it in so many different ways. And I want to bring up kind of the energy I was giving off on yesterday's episode, okay? Because it has a lot to do with what we're talking about today, right? Brock Boeser, JT Miller putting on a display. And there I was, still thinking like, yo, we can't just rely on luck, all this jazz. Can't just save it for the last 3 minutes. We can't just save it for spurts. You know what I'm saying? Keep in mind the Vancouver Canucks won game 1 in 12 seconds, if you know what I'm saying, right? You can't just always be leaning into that. That being said, bro, I thought about the goals that the Canucks scored yesterday. You want to talk about execution? Bro, they were doing it. And look at that first goal that they scored yesterday. That was chemistry. That was beautiful. Susie to Miller off the faceoff to Brock Boeser, who's off camera, and Brock Boeser with the finishing touch. It was something that had me going back, being more appreciative of what the Canucks did pull off. Because again, a lot of their execution when it really mattered was textbook hockey. It really was.
Yeah, and I think that execution, it's right now, it's starting and ending with Miller and Boeser. And a shout out to Hughes as well, who, again, was the low man on ice time on the Canucks defense through 2 periods, which, when you think about this after the fact, it's wild. And I know the guy wasn't, feeling his best. And you could argue it hurt the defense overall. I think that was probably the weakest game by the Canucks defense, although still they did a pretty good job of not allowing, the 5-alarm high danger chances. But Quinn Hughes, again, the low man among Canucks defensemen and ice time. You tell us that going to a playoff game, we're probably thinking that, things have really gone wrong with your Vancouver Canucks. And they look like they were going wrong last night until, of course, Hughes plays, 5.5 of the final 7 minutes and contributes to the last 2 goals of the game. But man, oh man, with JT Miller and Brock Boeser, I'm waiting for the next Canuck player to really step up and emerge in terms of hero status. I think we've had, the Canucks 3-headed monster in goal. We've had Miller and Boeser step up.
Wow.
Maybe, Kyle, as we get to the other side, we'll brainstorm who the next guy that's going to step up for the Canucks is going to be.
You know what the Canucks should do? Like the organization? They should, if the Canucks are successful and they execute again and they defeat the Nashville Predators in this series, they got to make a T-shirt with Demko, DeSmith, and Silovs, and as you just said it, call it the 3-headed monster. Straight up, kind of modify their goalie masks to look like monsters. It'd be kind of a cool shirt, because this is a cultural moment for the Vancouver Canucks. Again, I know that's a strong statement to make because we're talking about game 4 of a first round, blah, blah, blah. This team hasn't been in the dance for like ever. And using 3 goalies in a 4-game span in a playoff series, when again, it's your first time being in the dance in a long time, is memorable. Like you can't make this ish up. It's special. It's more notably cool. Hey, speaking of which, Locked On Canucks, man, doing our thing, man. Every single day, every single 17 hours, here at the Don't Those Art Lab on the Locked On Podcast Network. Trevor Beggs, we got to talk about Demko getting nominated for the Vezina. We got to talk about Demko's future, too. Straight up. Does Silovs have something to say about that? Does Silovs have something to say about that? But first, before we do that, as Richard says, man, it's commercial time, okay? It's commercial time. Who we shouting out on this episode of Locked On Canucks?
All right, since this is a bonus episode, just got to do one set of ad reads here, shouting out our friends over at Gametime and go. But first, I got to shout out Gametime, baby. Okay, you know me, Beggsy. I'm cheap. I'm also a big last minute deals guy, and I know that if I'm looking for tickets at the last minute, I'm going to Gametime, baby. You know why? Because they got the lowest price guarantee. Okay, I don't need to go anywhere else. When you got an app that gives you tickets with views from your seat, they're already offering you zone deals and flash deals. They're doing the work, and then they're going ahead and offering the lowest price guarantee. Are you kidding me? You are the reason that I'm blowing my kids' education money on tickets, okay? And again, hey, if you're not into Canucks, you can also get tickets for concerts, comedy, football, basketball, soccer, baseball, and whatever else. Just make sure you go find it all with Gametime, okay? So go download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. All right, game off. We got to pause here and talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that. But there's just so much good stuff in this game, baby. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get, including unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heights their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover with Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on!
Game on, man. Can't wait to play Monopoly Go with my girlfriend, man. Because, again, we're not watching any Canucks games together anymore. Down 3-1 when she was in the building. Up 4-3 when she left. Do the math. People, we back doing this, talking about your Vancouver Canucks on Locked On Canucks. One love to the culture, right? Your team every day. That's what the ups told us to say. And we said, you know what? We're never saying that. We're never saying that. We're saying you're Canucks every day. It's us against the world. F those other teams. That's all I got to say. Speaking of which, thanks for the super chat. Jacob Cozy. This guy's saying that the Oilers are no problem. Dude, bring on anyone, okay? I believe in this team. I believe in the star power on this team. I believe that eventually they're going to get things quote unquote right. And I also believe that the hockey gods and the hockey universe is looking out for Vancouver, okay? What are the chances, right? You can't make this ish up. We deserve it. 1 year after the Canucks miss out on Connor Bedard, we win the Stanley Cup, okay? Remember, Rick Tocchet over Connor Bedard. Put that shirt off. Put that shirt out, okay? If the Canucks are listening to this, when we win the cup, make that t-shirt. Rick Tocchet over Connor Bedard. Anyways, one of those superstars that I think, is going to get the job done. His name's Elias Pettersson, okay? I dropped an episode a couple days ago. We love Elias Pettersson, blah, blah, blah. And then I was kind of critical yesterday because I'm emotional, okay? That being said, one thing I noticed today was the fact that you and I both ignored that in a positive way, a really positive way, Elias Pettersson was really good in the last 3 minutes of that game. Can we both admit that? And last time I checked, we tied the game. Positives, right? That's got to bode well.
Yeah, really good. Definitely feels like we're, giving them the participation medal a little bit here. But, great backtrack.
Team sport, clutch moment. We're trying to tie a game. He's touching the puck. Come on, man.
Yeah,
That's our guy, man.
Again, I don't really want to go to the extent of really good, but look, I think, his decisiveness with the puck has been a big issue. And he had moments in game 4 where decisiveness was still an issue, namely that first goal where he made a bad pass back to Hughes, puck goes down the ice, Predators score. But, late in that game, he has the chance to shoot on net, and he took a shot on net at one point, but he defers to Miller right before Miller shoots, and then Boeser ends up burying the game-tying goal. So, split-second decision like that worked out for Pettersson. Also, on the back check on Colton Sissons there, if Pettersson isn't pressuring Colton Sissons, I'm pretty sure Sissons is going to hit that empty net. But PD, I think, put just enough pressure on him that, he knew he had to get the puck off his stick on the backhand. And, yeah, again, thankfully hit the post. And I think Pettersson played a part in that as well. So, we talked about PD a ton, and you got to think at some point this guy is going to figure it out. A bounce is going to go his way. I think there were some signs that things were certainly better than they were in game 2 and games 3 and 4, but also signs too that this guy hasn't quite hit that yet for your Vancouver Canucks.
Okay, again, in the first 57 minutes of that game, Elias Pettersson he was so bad. Along with a lot of other guys on the team, but man, oh man. The team kind of needs you, right? We're going into game 4 with a third string goaltender from Latvia, okay? Can you name me 2 cities in Latvia? What's the national language? What's the national language in Latvia? Latvian? What's the second one? What's the second one? You know how we learn French in Canada? What's the second language there? Exactly. Elias Pettersson, we needed you. And for 57 minutes, you were still in your head. Still not confident. No mojo. But those last 3 minutes, that was some fun hockey, right? And I think he was a part of the finishing act. He really was. Okay? Because he could have bobbled that puck at the blue line. Okay? 7 seconds left, 9 seconds left, whatever it was when he gave it down to Miller. Based on what he was doing prior in that game and in this series, there's a good chance that in that moment, with no mojo, he's bobbling that. And what did he do? He didn't do that. Clean crisp right to JT Miller. And man, oh man, Miller with 3 assists yesterday. And can I go on a tangent here, or do you want to talk about something else? You're getting me emotional, man. It's playoff hockey. It's okay, right? It's okay. It's all good. I'm going to say it again. Canucks going on a long run. You heard it here first. You really did hear it first. Like, you never heard it anywhere else. But the Canucks are going on a long run. We're winning the cup. And JT Miller's going to be the face of hockey. He's got the face for it. He's got the attitude. And how many creative plays has he made this series? Like, this guy's dynamic.
Yeah. No, he's been unbelievable for your Canucks. And again, I think you look at so far in the playoffs, and there's no question that Miller and Boeser have been the two best Canucks skaters. And, you also got to shout out the goalies as well. I think, again, in net, aside from Smith having a so-so game too, I mean, those 3 goalies have all played a part in Canucks wins. And, let's give a quick shout out to, who the real MVP of the Canucks playoffs is? It's Jim Benning, okay? This because it's Jim Benning's birthday. Happy birthday, Jim Benning.
Should we sing a birthday, dude? Let's do it, dude. Let's put an instrumental on in the background. We got something. Do we got something here? Do we got something? Okay. Anyways, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Thank you for JT Miller. Happy birthday to you. For real. What a guy.
And hey, drafted Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes did his thing last night too. So, drafted Brock Boeser. So shout out to Jim Benning. We're feeling good in Vancouver. You're feeling good in Vancouver when you're giving Jim Benning a shout out. He is 61 years old today. Damn, I thought he was older than that. Anyways,
hop on the show, Jim Benning. Hop on the show, man.
Straight up, man. Hey, Jim Benning also did draft Thatcher Demko, and Thatcher Demko, we learned today, was nominated for the Vezina Trophy. Okay, so Vezina, so it's Connor Hellebuyck, Thatcher Demko, and Sergei Bobrovsky. I was kind of surprised about that one. Were the 3 candidates for the Vezina Trophy this season. I'm just saying right now, give it to Thatcher Demko. You know why? Yeah. Connor Hellebuyck was the best goalie in the regular season, but look what's happened in the playoffs. Okay, Thatcher Demko unbeaten in the playoffs. Connor Hellebuyck can't stop anything in the playoffs. So
wow,
hope that plays into the GM's decisions. Shout out to Thatcher Demko. But Kyle, the real question is: Demko going to even be the starter next season for your Vancouver Canucks?
Oh, whoa! Damn, bro. Oh, okay, let's talk about this, okay? And not what just Trevor said, right? But let's talk about not the elephant in the room, but the Latvian in the room, okay? That's what the kids are saying these days. With an ice pack on his head. There seems to be somewhat of a ceiling on Silovs, right? It's early in his NHL career, but I think hockey people, goalie people know that this guy's talented, right? On that note, the Canucks just lost a really, really talented goaltender, and I'm not talking about Casey DeSmith. Look, Casey DeSmith's a really good goaltender, right? But I think there are some similarities between Demko and Silovs when it comes to the notion that when they're really on, they can control the game and also reduce panic, right? Those are the best goaltenders. Yeah, you're going to make spectacular saves. You're going to do the splits and all that jazz, but you're going to not just give the viewers this feeling that, oh, this guy's on his game because he's holding all the rebounds. He's getting whistles. Just flowing. The game is on his pace. Not only do we get that feeling, the team gets that feeling too. And Silovs, I think, does that and then some over DeSmith more over like a 10-game stretch, theoretically speaking. Okay? The ceiling a bit bigger on Silovs. Do the Canucks want to lean into possibly giving this guy a chance to find momentum, right? One of those things. What if he finds flow state, and is his flow state more impressive than DeSmith's flow state, even at this point in his career? Maybe. And if that's the case, that's a weapon for your Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, and you know what, Kyle? There's precedent here for the Canucks going back to Silovs, right? Because you look at the regular season, and DeSmith, again, he's coming off a strong start right now, but I think if DeSmith's not 100% healthy, ready to go, I think they're going to go back to Silovs, because we saw in the regular season too, that big game against Vegas. Silovs had started against the Ducks and the Coyotes, I think it was. And then all of a sudden Smith has one bad start, and then they put Silovs in against Vegas, and I think that surprised a lot of people. And Silovs came up with a win that night, right? And I like some of his post-game comments last night, saying that he wasn't really nervous, he wasn't rattled. He was happy that they let him know the day before so that he was able to mentally prepare, get a little bit more rest, do a little bit more Latvia meditation or whatever he does. And Kyle, I thought he looked calm than that all night long, right? In terms of the goals that went past him, I don't think there's much he could have done on any of them. Would have been a highlight reel save on any of the 3 if he was able to stop them. So yeah, I don't think the Canucks would be hesitant. I think they trust both goalies right now. And what a great spot to be in. And Kyle, when we talk about the hype in this market, talk about the Canucks winning the Stanley Cup, there's two parts of it in my mind. One is that the window's just opening up for this team, right? This is the first year that they're really in Stanley Cup contention with this core. The other is you look at the depth of this team right now, the depth on defense, and maybe we'll talk about more of that on tomorrow's episode, the depth on defense, the depth in net, the fact they got a ton of guys on expiring contracts, the fact that they might not have 3 goalies like this next season who could win NHL games. This might be the year for the Canucks to go all in and win it. Now, more things need to happen. More guys need to step up their games. I'm going to keep it a vague on that one. You know who I'm talking about. But there is something in my mind that's saying that the Canucks really do need to make a push to win the Stanley Cup this year because, they got a lot of talent and this team is not going to look the same next year.
Yeah. No, it won't. It won't. They have a lot of guys playing for, most importantly, the team. Like you can see the bromance there, the camaraderie there. But again, a lot of people are playing for their next contract, It's a recipe here, man. I've been saying it for, since I think game 9. Like something feels weird. Something feels special, Something feels unusual. And if you combine those 3 things, you kind of only see the Stanley Cup. Straight up, because we don't know how to do it. We've never done it before. And the randomness and the story that's being written here, it feels kind of well deserved. Okay. I know one step at a time and we got to take more than 20 shots, but I'm just feeling grateful, man. Straight up. This has been a good year to tap back in with the Vancouver Canucks and ultimately just fall in love with the first love of my life. And that's the game of hockey, man. Straight up. Anyways, let's get to the comments before I start crying. Because, I'll start crying, man. I was getting emotional. You should have told me to shut up there, man. Archer Silovs, okay? You just take it here and Aiden Hill, right? Be the next Aiden Hill. There you go. Let's get to this, okay? Matt Folger saying the viewing party at the Hollywood Theater was bananas. Was a party, right? Halford and Bruff, Sportsnet doing their thing there. Hollywood Theater, good vibes. Always looking out for their neighbors. Bro, it's a good vibe. It's connected to my thought here as well, Trevor. Obviously, the mayor of Vancouver saying that I'm paraphrasing a bit, but we're not getting another riot. I mean, we're not getting another viewing party, right? It's kind of scary. It's kind of dangerous. I was with the tax lady today, and she was talking about it, and she thinks that's the right call. She doesn't watch hockey, but she thinks that's the right call. She worked downtown, okay, when those things happened for the second time in our city's history. Okay, I'm just bringing it up. And I know a lot of people are up in arms saying that the fact that the city's not doing viewing parties is not the right thing, right? You got to let the people come together. The Canucks are in the playoffs. That was the past. Blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen again. But when you do it twice, a part of me does believe that there should be like a 25-year penalty before you get another chance. That's just me. But hey, honestly, prove me wrong because I love the people. But I'm just saying the city's done it twice. City's done it twice. Let's not forget about 94, okay? There's not a lot of video of it. The city's done it twice. Keep that in mind. Not once, twice.
Honestly, I hate this whole we're not going to do outdoor viewing parties because we're worried about the riot crap. It's like, again, I'm going to try not to go on a tangent about it for too long, but the riots were a few bad eggs spoiling what was, a lot of Canuck fans trying to enjoy some big moments. Now, you look at viewing parties in other NHL cities, and again, pretty much every other NHL team has a viewing party, except they don't trust those damn Vancouverites because all they do is riot. Just have your outdoor viewing party set up there so it's not like a free-for-all, right? Like, I don't know if doing it like 2011 is the right way to go, where you just all gather on Gravel Street and watch a big TV like we were doing back in the day. But, we saw the signs from Nashville. They have a viewing party with rules. You can't bring in bags. You can't bring in this and that. Same with other cities as well.
Okay.
Like, just have an outdoor viewing party and fence it off, have security, have checkpoints and have a good time, man. Like, I hate this whole idea of we're going to do nothing because we're worried about the riot. To me, that's just, it's lazy and it's insulting to the people, of Vancouver.
Yeah, you could just tell me to shut the beep up. You dumb mother. You could have just told me that, Trevor. Holy, bro. Trevor, from mayor? Trevor, look at Trevor. Can you give me a smile there? Just give me, oh, there you go. Trevor Beggs. For the mayor of Vancouver. I had somebody on my Instagram post on their story that, when I become the mayor of Vancouver, I'm changing this up. So there's that type of energy, but I'm pretty sure this guy's never watched more than 5 hockey games in his life. A couple more comments. Trevor, do you have 5 minutes? Do you have 3 minutes? Do you have 2 minutes? Can we get to these comments? Boom,
Yeah,
bam.
I got time. Let's get to it.
Okay, cool. How about Alex? Okay, bring back Don Cherry. Yo, come on, man. That's one right there. Don Cherry. What's he doing now?
I
What a
think we have a
time, man.
troll.
Okay,
I think we have a troll in the commenters, anyways.
man. Oh man, dude. Look at Jacob Cozy. Okay, Andrew. Sometimes all you need is 3 minutes. Okay, sometimes all you need is 12 seconds. The Canucks are doing a lot for those who, the quickie can't last long, right? Everyone always makes fun of the short time on attack, but man, oh man, sometimes that's all you need. How about this comment? One of the comments of the year from Jacob. The Preds got catfished last night. The Predators, right? Throwing a catfish on the ice every now and then. That is something, man. That is something, and I don't know what else to go to. Like, my comments are kind of bugging out now.
Oh,
Anyways,
really?
Locked
So
On Canucks, man.
I don't want to bring up a couple things here. First and foremost,
Okay,
someone
your
says
thing, your thing.
Kyle's so handsome. I agree, man. I
Dude,
agree.
Angelo,
Kyle,
can I
you're
talk
shit.
to Angelo for a bit too? Because we're on YouTube, man. Angelo, this guy's on a lot of videos, right? Like he's a big Canucks fan. I'm a big Canucks fan. I'm watching a lot of other podcasters because I'm just like, I'm in love with the Canucks, right? Got to absorb that content, right? You're in a positive mood today. I love it. I love it, man. You're positive in the comments today. Like, you're hopeful. Sometimes you're too negative for me, man. Let's not be careful about manifesting and all that stuff. Like you talk too much. You don't want to put it out there. The Canucks are gonna lose every now and then, okay? And Demko's not this, and Petters. Relax, keep it positive, man. Keep those vibes, okay? I like the vibes that you're having right now. Keep it going, Trevor.
There we go. That's Kyle's what is growing by the second here, man. Unbelievable stuff. I didn't want to touch on this before we get out of here. Comments from Jordan Brown saying, how do we feel about playing Edmonton without Demko? And also Carmen Graywall saying, if the Canucks want to beat Edmonton, the bottom six has to step up. Look, both Edmonton and the Canucks are now up 3-1 in their series. We've been saying it for months. I swear I talk about it every day with either you or friends or coworkers that I cannot wait for Vancouver Edmonton round 2. So it's hard not to look forward to it, even though we're not quite there yet. But let's touch on it real quick because, Kyle, you mentioned it earlier in the show that bring on anybody. Bring on anybody. And, going to a series against the Edmonton Oilers with your backup or your third stringer in, the Canucks would deservedly be underdogs. But I think it'd be a hell of a series. And, I think both Edmonton and Vancouver play with good structure. Like Edmonton's defensive game has come a long ways from where it was. The Canucks defensive game has also come a long ways. So it might come down to making saves in the big moments. And Stuart Skinner has been a lot better. He obviously does, but he has games too, like, game 2 against the LA Kings where he doesn't look great. So he's a beatable goaltender as well. And again, I think Edmonton should be favored in that series, but it's going to be closer than people think. But Carmen Guerrero's got a point. I think it's not even really the Canucks bottom six has to step up. It's Elias Pettersson, right? I don't think our bottom six has been that bad, all things considered. When you look at kind of DiGiuseppe, Lafferty, Blueger on the fourth line, that third line's been good. But they probably need to pick it up a step too. When I look at Edmonton and their bottom six, Dylan Holloway had a 2-goal game, but their bottom six doesn't blow you away either. So yeah, again, Edmonton would have the edge, but am I worried? No, I'm not worried, man. Come on, look at what's happening with your Vancouver Canucks right now. Maybe Destiny's on our side this year, and if not, hey, they will be underdogs against Edmonton at the end of the day.
We got Mother Nature on our side too, man. Beautiful win last night, miraculous win, and look at the weather today, absolutely beautiful as well. Okay, and look at this comment from Rakesh Singh. Can we end on this note? Because Trevor, you've known me for a long time, and I wish my family actually named me Mukesh, right? Mukesh. I wanted that name. I wanted more of a Fijian Hindu name. Straight up. I'm jealous of Rakesh's name, but he's saying Pettersson better step up. Better step up. Hey, wouldn't it be fitting if this story continues, right? And another chapter of the story is thank you, Edmonton. Okay? Because Pettersson in that series against the Oilers in round 2 is inspired about what McDavid can do. And it brings out the best in Pettersson and allows him to propel himself back into that categorization that, he was in for years after years after years, or year after year after year, I'm sorry. And that's being amongst the best players in hockey. Okay? So it's this moment where Pettersson and McDavid match up. Pettersson becomes McDavid's worst enemy. You get what I'm saying? And that's another storyline to add to this magical story about your Vancouver Canucks. Speaking of which, this episode is now over of Locked On Canucks, okay? For real. Too much yapping, bro. Too much yapping. I got to get back to work. Beggsy got to get back to work. We love the Canucks. We love you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button so we can take our girlfriends to Cactus Club every now and then, okay? It's the goal. It's the goal, man. You know, I definitely got to go there because the playoffs are going to continue. I'm not really going to see my girl on game days anymore because I'm superstitious, you know? So a like will lead me to Cactus Club. If you're on the podcast side, leave us a review and join the Discord, man. Talk Canucks while on the toilet, okay? Hit the link in the bio. Eggsy, sign us out.
Yeah, I think you covered it, but I will shout out you listening right now because, hey, we are nothing without you tuning into Locked On Canucks. Whether you're an everydayer, an occasional listener, a first-time listener, welcome, a new subscriber, or you join us on the live YouTube show. Hey, don't matter when or where you're listening. We appreciate and love each and every one of you. This is Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Go Canucks, go. Kyle and I will be back tomorrow morning previewing what could be the last game of round one with the Canucks having a chance to knock out the Nashville Predators on home ice tomorrow night. We'll get you covered for that game. I want to talk a little bit about the defense, Zadorov and Hughes as well. All of that tomorrow. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowden, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Happy birthday, Jim Benning. We always knew you had it in you.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, I forgot to